But let's see what this next one is, because man, apparently there's just so much going on with Breece Hall trades and my computer right now. It is. Do you hear that?
What is happening?
I don't know. Like, I'm not getting any pop-ups, but something's really angry right now, and I don't know what it is.
Bidding.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the DLF Trade Show. Your eyes and ears and souls place to go to for love and validation. And all right, no, that's why we come here. You come here for trade advice, for values, and to look at these two beautiful mugs. Am I right?
Facts. That's it.
Facts, as the kids say these days. But yes, dynastyleaguefootball.com and all of its awesome trade tools, the trade analyzer, the trade finder, to help you gain some insight into, the values of your players on your team, on other people's teams, to successfully go make some trades. And today we are dealing with some players that found themselves in the news this week, whether for good reasons or bad reasons. Well, actually, one guy isn't in the news. The player on his team was in the news for... We'll get to it. But first, let's talk about Christian McCaffrey, the big news of the season, man. But the first trade we have, 12-team Superflex, Christian McCaffrey for T. Higgins and Antonio Gibson. McCaffrey, 625, T. Higgins, 480, Gibson, 165, total of 645. So, I mean, this trade is even in the analyzer. And honestly, like, I can see this going both ways and both people feeling fine about it. Like, you get that home run in Christian McCaffrey. Even if you did this, I traded for Christian McCaffrey the morning before he got traded. And the only reason I was sad about it was because I knew if he played at all that, this past week, it wasn't going to be a lot. And then he has a bye week in 2 weeks. So I felt a little screwed over. But yeah, it is what it is. But like, even if McCaffrey didn't get traded, this is still a deal that would probably go down.
I know your answer to this trade. Obviously, everybody who watches this show knows the answer to this trade. But I feel the same way. I'm taking T. Higgins here. And this is still a deal that I would have done no matter if McCaffrey was in Carolina, if he was in San Fran. I just like this overall, just to be able to get the young elite wide receiver in T. Higgins. And then, like, I don't view Antonio Gibson as a nothing in this trade. I think he's actually a player that I want to go out and acquire right now, because I still think that he is very good at football. I think he's actually better than Brian Robinson, even though, they don't believe that.
It's a little hot takey based on what the team cares about, but okay.
Sure. But I think Gibson's better. And I think that he's a player who is kind of like a Tony Pollard right now, who is getting limited touches, but is super efficient on those touches, that he can still get you 9, 10, 11, 12 fantasy points on 10 touches. And if he scores a touchdown, then you're in the high teens, upwards to closer to 20. And that's going to help you out. And then, of course, there's always the upside of, if Brian Robinson were to get hurt, if McKissick were to get hurt, then Gibson gets more workload from that. Yep. Or maybe he gets traded. Like we literally just got the news that Kadarius Toney just got traded. So
yeah, I mean, right now, I believe we have 4 more days. I think it's till the end of the month, or maybe it's Monday. I think
it's mid next week.
The deadline is soon.
Yeah,
let's just put it that way.
So maybe Gibson gets traded, and that would increase his value as well, depending on the team that he goes to.
Monday is the end of the month. I said the same thing twice, by the way. Just putting it out there, how awesome I am. All right, the next trade we have is a lot more interesting, because it is Christian McCaffrey and Tyler Lockett for a late 23 first, a late 23 second, and a 24 first. Because I love this deal for both sides, to be honest. Because if you're rebuilding and you don't want McCaffrey, whether they're early or late, you're getting 2 firsts and a second, and that feels great. Lockett should be worth a second. I will say those words out loud. I don't think you see that trade happen. Like, I have been offered Lockett for a second. That was yesterday. I got offered Lockett for a second yesterday, and I rejected it, mostly team dependent. Like, that team just happens to be very good, and I probably wouldn't actually start Lockett, so it didn't seem worthwhile to actually do it. Wow. But like, especially, that I'm not even humble bragging. I'm straight up bragging about this team. But yeah, like, I don't think Lockett for a second comes in. So adding him to this trade gets you that second, because 2 firsts for McCaffrey is probably, especially when we're talking late 23rd, you're probably going to be adding a 24 first on top, especially now because the price is going to go up whether you think his fantasy value changes. Like you said, you think it's a lateral move. It doesn't matter because we're excited. The hype is building. So you're going to have to pay a little bit more. So like I like the ability to get 2 firsts and a second out of these players, but also if I could bring Christian McCaffrey and Tyler Lockett into my starting lineup without having to full on replace a player, that's great. Because instead of sending T. Higgins out and having to use Christian McCaffrey to replace those points, you're essentially taking your worst player in your lineup and sliding Christian McCaffrey in there. So you are just getting points in your lineup. I would easily do this if I'm a competing team.
Yeah, this is another one. Like both of these trades, I feel like if you're trading for Christian McCaffrey, you have to be contending, and the person who has Christian McCaffrey has to be maybe not rebuilding, but at least going towards that certain direction.
Yeah,
they're
like the
trying
T.
to
Higgins
figure
and
out what they're
Gibson,
doing.
you're still competing with Higgins and Gibson. You're not rebuilding. Here,
Right.
just for picks, you're probably rebuilding. Or you
Probably,
have
yeah.
an active enough league where that sounds like fun, where you just get those picks and then just turn them into something else. Oh, man.
Right. Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I have McCaffrey on 2 competing teams, and I'm keeping him there. Keeping him there.
Good. Go win a championship. But yeah, this one's one of those ones where I see both sides entirely. Like,
Yeah.
if you're rebuilding and you have Christian McCaffrey and Tyler Lockett, you don't want them on your team. You know, they should be cashed out for on a rebuilding team. And I think this is a fantastic way to do that. You get 2 firsts, 23 and 24. You get a 23 second as well, which it's a contender second, but it's still not nothing. And like you said, that's probably a hard trade to do right now for Tyler Lockett straight up.
Yeah,
Just getting a second. So I really like this ability to package that for the picks. But on the flip side, if you're a contender, and maybe you just like bearing the lead a little bit for the next player, maybe you just lost Breece Hall, or maybe you had Javonte Williams, or something along those lines, and you want to plug in another elite running back. Being able to send 2 firsts and a second for Christian McCaffrey and Tyler Lockett, who again, Tyler Lockett's not nothing. He's a very good wide receiver too. I feel like he's doing Tyler Lockett things of being a boom or bust wide receiver. This is a fantastic move to make that I would love to do if I'm competing and really pushing towards a championship.
All right, yeah, and I mean, you teased it, so let's just jump right into it. The next player is Breece Hall, who tore his ACL. From the sound of it, it sounds like it was a clean, just ACL tear, which is better than, like you previously mentioned, Javonte and Dobbins. We see what's happening with him. He had to go get his knee scoped again, and clearly no 2 injuries are the same. So I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to Javonte, but it's on the table now.
Yeah,
it's in the back of our minds because their 2 injuries were more similar than just the clean ACL. So what we have in a 12-team Superflex league is Breece Hall for 23 third, 23 fourth. Wait, Breece Hall and 23 third, 23 fourth for Christian McCaffrey. And I want to ask the question before we get into this. How much does your value on Breece Hall change because of this ACL tear?
It really hasn't. My value on Javonte changed a lot because, like you said, I think Javonte's injury was a lot more destructive. Not looking too good, I think, for how much he's going to be able to play in 2024 and then how effective he's going to play. Plus, when you already factor in the fact that he couldn't even break away from Melvin Gordon. So why would they give him a full workload coming off of
I feel like we need to
injury?
Just move past Javonte. Any running back in Denver being the guy.
Right. Maybe things change. Maybe Hackett gets fired and blah, blah, but what, that could all change, I guess.
Current iteration of the Broncos.
What we've already seen from Breece Hall, like he was already the workhorse. He completely took over like 75% of Michael Carter's work.
Just be careful where you're treading on.
I know. I'm just saying that he was.
Breece Hall could take it to the 1 yard line all he wants. Michael Carter's putting it in that end zone.
That's very true. But Breece Hall was getting 18 to 20 plus carries. He was seeing
and still getting the
2,
targets.
3, 4, 5 targets a game. Like he was everything that we thought that he was going to be coming in here and
getting better.
And producing so well for being on the Jets, that whole argument and whatnot. So, and then because of the injury being a pretty clean ACL injury, this can kind of comp towards like Dalvin Cook towards ACL in his rookie season, came back, had some other hamstring injuries and whatnot, finished his second season pretty strong. And then third season, he became Dalvin Cook, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really change all that much for me for Breece Hall. Plus, I mean, given the landscape of the running back position, he kind of has to be a top 5 running back still.
Yeah, I mean, like he was probably number 2, and that's only if you still believed in Jonathan Taylor at this point,
right? He was 1 or 2,
or if you were already subbing in Bijan, because like he's the one Bijan, right? Already.
Right.
I agree with pretty much everything you said, and I just want to put in there, you made my point for me that yeah, Breece is probably going to come back for week 1 maybe week 1, because clean ACL tear is usually around that 8 months ish, as opposed to what Dobbins and Javonte did, where it's going to be closer to 12 to 16, and very likely Breece is going to come in, run differently because he doesn't trust his knee, high ankle sprain or pull a hamstring, and miss a few weeks, and that's when you go get Breece from those frustrated people. Because he is going to heal and he will be fine the same way Saquon was. He came back, high ankle sprain, had like 3 games of being Saquon again, and then he stepped on that dude's foot, grew an ankle on his ankle, and then was gone for the rest of the year. But look, he's Saquon again. So like, don't give up on Breece Hall because of a clean ACL tear. Like, we're past that point. But to get back to this specific trade, I mean, forget about the 3rd and the 4th. Like, that's like one of those just make me feel better about it. Hall for McCaffrey, I think, is perfect. I think that's. I was competing. I had the nice young running back. Oh crap! All right, but I still want to compete. Well, let me go get that guy who, okay, he's older, so it might just be this season, maybe next season if I'm lucky. But I mean, I'm swinging home run, for the home run right here, and that's what McCaffrey is.
Right. I definitely think it's better than going for somebody older than him, like trying to trade down to get a Cook or Kamara, or I know Eckler's producing, but Eckler's about to be 30. At least McCaffrey, if he produces in San Fran, we're really going to talk ourselves into McCaffrey still, even at 27 years old, being with the Niners, doing what Austin Eckler's been doing for the last 3 years, stuff like that. So
yeah,
I generally don't like win now dynasty moves because the benefit that you're getting towards your starting lineup isn't all that impactful from just one overall player when you're starting 9, 10, 11 players.
But when it's
Christian McCaffrey, so that definitely helps. And plus, like, the value here, my big thing is not making win now moves when you're really sacrificing dynasty value to do
absolutely.
that. But you're not really sacrificing dynasty value, because at the end of the year, I think McCaffrey and Breece Hall are going to be pretty similarly valued.
They're probably going to be like RB4 and 5.
Yeah, as long as McCaffrey stays healthy. So
the next trade is Breece Hall and Romeo Doubs for Kenneth Walker and Alec Pierce. Breece Hall, 583, Romeo Doubs, 88 for a total of 671. Kenneth Walker, 338, Alec Pierce, 41, total of 379. My dog is very angry about this trade. So yeah, this was the answer that was popping in my head also. Is there one young running back you would feel okay doing that swap for? And like, I'll take my partial L on Kenneth Walker. I never thought Kenneth Walker was bad. He is a very good runner of the football. My real issues were the offense in Seattle was going to be terrible. The offensive line in Seattle is terrible, and they don't throw to the running back, and he doesn't have a history of catching out of the backfield. Seattle's offense is playing way above their pay grade. Their offensive line is playing well enough. And these two things are still the case. Like, he runs for 160 yards, but still gets 0 targets. But he is also that good of a runner of the football where if he keeps doing this well, it will stop him from being McCaffrey, Kamara, Gurley, running back 1.
Sure.
He could be Derrick Henry.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah. Not Derrick Henry that, where he almost finished. What was that? It was last year, right? Where it took Jonathan Taylor 6 weeks to catch up to Derrick Henry. Like, not that Derrick Henry, but like the year before Derrick Henry, where he broke an NFL record, but was still the PPR running back like 3. I know it's a very touchy subject, dog. You got to knock it off though. So I get it. The secondary pieces in this are weird, but I think if it's one of those things where if this is what it takes to get the deal done, you just do it anyway. Yeah. But I don't want to trade Breece for Walker, but I get it because Kenneth Walker's in here at 338. That's gonna just keep going up for now because he's all there is. Like him and Dameon Pierce are the two young producing running backs, except Dameon Pierce will never feel safe for anyone because of how rebuilding that team is. No, they're just going to replace him. They're just going to replace him. They're just going to replace him. Kenneth Walker's the dude. Like that's what he is there. And that's fine. And that's, well, technically that's great, you know, because that's going to boost Kenneth Walker if he keeps producing like this on the ground. So I get it. I just don't like it.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you. I think the weird part of this is the Dobbs and Pierce swap. I don't know why that really needed to be in there to be necessary. Like, I still feel like you need to add a little something to Kenneth Walker. And, you know, Hall for Kenneth Walker and Alec Pierce, I think makes a lot of sense. You don't even need to throw Dobbs in here.
I wonder how many people find Hall and Walker completely even right now.
There's probably a good amount, especially because of the injury.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to take that into account. So if that's the case, I understand paying up like the space between Dubs and Alec Pierce to go get those points and just to get the deal done. I don't care enough to not do that to make the deal go through.
Yeah. But I also think
shouldn't have to be there, but I don't care that it is there, I guess is a different way of saying it.
Yeah, I'm with you. But I also think, like, if I'm sitting here and I have Breece Hall and you came at me and you say, I want him, I'll give you Kenneth Walker so you can maintain competing, I'd be like, okay, I need Kenneth Walker plus, and can that plus just be Alec Pierce? Like, I also feel like that shouldn't stop anybody either. You know?
Yeah. I mean, like, but you probably, if you have a smart manager that's the Kenneth Walker guy, like, oh, you want points? You might have to pay for those points right now.
Yeah, the leverage is on the other side for sure. But I can definitely see at the end of the year that we're talking, you know, how we said McCaffrey and Breece were 4 and 5. Kenneth Walker's probably going to be 6 or 3. You know, he's on one of those other sides.
3 because he's scoring points, so it's going to boost him up. Right. Again, assuming this stays, like it's not like, oh, teams now see what Geno is doing and what Kenneth Walker does. Maybe the defenses adjust. I mean, again, Kenneth Walker might just be that good where it might not matter. All right, so next our player is, you know what? No, your boy. It's not Saquon, not that boy. I would introduce Saquon because I still just love Saquon, but Addison has absolutely been, for my knowledge, head of the hype train of this one. So again, this is the player that was not in the news, but his teammate was. So you go.
Head of the hype train of Dynasty top 5 running back Travis Etienne. That's what we're talking about.
Maybe
this is the world we live in,
on that train a little bit.
This is the world we live in, Russ. I'm so excited, dude, for what
are.
Travis Etienne is going to be able to do without James Robinson in there stealing away stupid touches and running for 2 yards a carry.
They showed for the past few weeks that they wanted ETN and they don't care how good James Robinson is. And then it's like, oh, it's almost the trade deadline. 0 touches for James Robinson. Like,
let's trade away that guy.
Yeah.
And we'll just give everything to Travis.
The GM is saving the coach from himself, where they're just like, no, stop it. Even though James Robinson is good, it's just he's a very different player than he.
It reminds me. Have you seen Moneyball?
I mean, I saw it in the theater, so I'm not gonna say I remember it, but I definitely saw it.
There's that one scene where they're trying to build out their roster, and they have the one player that the GM that Brad Pitt wants to play at first base, and then the coach is like, "Nah, this guy's actually a first baseman." So he keeps playing him, even though Brad Pitt's like, "Nah, play the other guy." And then he just finally got fed up with it and was like, "You can't play him at first base anymore." And he's like, "Why not? I run the team." He goes, "No, because he's not on the team."
Exactly.
That is exactly what just happened here in Jacksonville. We're like, we're playing Travis Etienne, and you're gonna like it.
Yep.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, let's get to it and see how you feel about these. In a 14-team, 1 quarterback league, Travis Etienne was traded for DK Metcalf and a late 23 first. Caution, Team B is giving up the highest value asset and the most pieces in the deal. Okay, so how large is the hype train? How fast is the hype train moving? With what velocity and force is this train? Please tell me you're still on DK in a first.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad you're still on. Your feet are secure on planet Earth, and I'm glad for that. I'm glad for you.
I might be floating a little bit, but I'm not in the stratosphere. I'm not up in space right now on the Travis Etienne.
Right. So you're like levitating. You're not full on flying.
Right. Exactly.
I'll take it.
Are you taking DK Metcalf over Travis Etienne still, or are they even enough for you?
Okay, well, let's do this first. Travis Etienne 344, DK Metcalf 625, a late 23 first 265 for a total of 890. Clearly, Etienne's going to go up. I think his value is probably going to be more of a crawl up than just a giant jump. Like this, technically, no. Like it should jump a bit when they were willing to give James Robinson 0 touches last week. It should be like, all right, nope, cool. He's the guy. And so I fully see a jump to at least 500 in the analyzer.
Probably. Yeah.
Around that, like you can give him a 498 and call it a day. Yes, I'm taking 24-year-old stud wide receiver DK Metcalf 1-for-1 over Travis Etienne. That is super positional bias for me and player bias a little bit. DK is not human. ETN could be very good, but he's a very good human player. DK Metcalf is not a human being. And whether it is Geno Smith next year or it's one of, I mean, they might be playing too well to get one of the top, though they do have the capital to move. His situation's not going to get worse. Let me put that out there. You know, Tyler Lockett's going to be a year older. They're terrible at bringing in other wide receivers. Like DK Metcalf is the only wide receiver they got right since Tyler Lockett, which was 5 years in between. I had to do that math real quick. So I'm still taking DK over just because DK is just, and like you said before, even if ETN does become, all right, I'm going to take it a step back and say top 10, it's going to be by default as opposed to by production.
Right.
So we are definitely not adding a first to DK. Honestly, ETN in a second for Metcalf and all. Yeah.
Yeah, the pick is definitely on the wrong side. I don't think it's ETN in a first for Metcalf, though.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be. 2 weeks ago, yeah, it probably might have been needed to first when Metcalf was healthy and James Robinson was still on the team and getting touches. But now that we are where we are and DK is going to miss a few weeks and ETN is the dude, the first is not necessary in general. Even the 24 first, I don't think you would need to do. I think 23 second, call it a day.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm totally taking the Metcalf in the first side on this.
I'm very glad to hear that. Right. So next we're going to go to, I mean, man, this is a very incestuous trade sheet right here. Like everyone like slides into the next one because here Travis Etienne in a late second for Breece Hall. Travis Etienne in a 12-team Superflex league is 297. Late second. Oh yeah, we have late seconds now. They're not just mids. Cool. Late second is 96 for a total of 392. Breece Hall still coming in at 583. Chances are Breece falls a little bit. I just said that I think ETN himself is going to hit that around that 500 mark, in which case, super fair trade. Mm-hmm. And yes, like if I lose Breece Hall and I'm not going for McCaffrey, I like this move because, like you said, I'm not willing to say that Travis Etienne is a top 5 running back. Given that offense getting better, given that James Robinson is gone, and behind him, ETN now is Snoop Connor?
Jermichael Hasty.
Right, Hasty's the okay, whatever. You know, it's that level of player. Yeah, ETN's the kind of guy you want to go for. Plus, you're only 23. Like you're going from 21 to 23, and since we're writing off the 21-year-old season, you know, you're losing a year. And it's not as if ETN had a full year his rookie year anyway, or a year. So, and again, a late second to get the deal done is fine. So, long term, Breece Hall is the answer. If you want to keep scoring points, I love losing your guy, but still getting a player and a pick, and a useful pick. A 23 second, regardless if it's late, will be useful, if anything else, as a trade chip to upgrade other pieces elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't really know how I should feel about this trade. Like, I think it's another one of those where I see both sides of it. Like, if you have Breece Hall and you're competing, you want those points back. I feel like going to Travis Etienne is still a pretty solid, you know, drop down. But I think it should come with more than a second. Like, I feel like that difference should still be a little bit more than just a second. Maybe I don't know if it's like another second on top of it, maybe a Tyler Lockett kind of player. Tyler Lockett, Travis Etienne, and a second for Breece Hall.
See, I mean, I love getting the pick instead of the player because
I'm saying get both of them.
oh, so a second
Etienne,
and
Lockett,
Lockett,
and a second. That kind of thing.
I mean, I
Brandon
wouldn't say
Cooks,
no if I was the
Adam
Breece Hall
Thielen.
person, but I think I would honestly probably take this and wouldn't be super sad about it, especially because if I got Lockett, I would honestly right away try and flip Lockett in a second for someone who's going to score more than Lockett will, and hopefully he's a little younger as well. So the more I can get, the better, but I don't think it needs to be there. Like, I know I'm saying I think this is where ETN's value is going to be, but like I think that's what it is now, and that's what it should be. You know, like I don't think it's going to take time for that. I think the second this updates, which, I mean, let's get it done. Come on, guys. Let me just give me access to type whatever I want. That's what I'm saying. Just let me decide DLF's trade value.
That would be interesting.
Just saying. T. Higgins 7,000. Like I like the idea of this. Of course, Addison is absolutely right. There's going to be plenty of people that thinks it should be more than a second, but we're in week 8. You know you're a contender, or you think you are. You're dang close. In which case, I love this even more because you are hedging, but still getting a good player. You're getting a young running back and a second, which seconds, using seconds is rough because especially late seconds, man, those hit rates drop and fast. But they make such good trade chips that I'm super cool with it. And again, when it comes to scoring points, I'm more willing to give up what feels like peak trade value to keep my team moving. It's not always the right way to do it. And again, I play in a lot of low stakes leagues. I definitely go volume over quality over quantity, or volume over, there's no other word that like goes with volume, that like quality and quantity have that nice alliteration. I don't have a volume and a very expensive. Like I go for a lot of low stakes as opposed to lots of money because A, I can't handle the pressure of that, and B, because I like to do silly things, and I'm not going to do a silly thing in a league that cost me just $600. So in my $42 leagues, I would easily do this. If someone's like, hey, Russ, I'm in a $200 league, I would say, okay, go get Tyler Lockett also.
Yeah, I got you.
We are going to move on to in Russ's inbox. But it's a league I created, in which case I'm super lazy, in which case it's the same exact scoring. 12 team Superflex PPR tight end premium with 1.75 points per tight end reception. Yeah, and 0.05 points for return yardage. So the trade is, and I'm not going to tell you which side is mine because I know you're going to choose against me because that's what you do. Once you know it's my side, you're just going to start arguing how wrong I am. AJ Brown and a 24 first for Dalvin Cook, Chris Olave, and a 24 second. All right, I lied. I'm going to tell you which side is mine. I went through every single league and sent an offer for Chris Olave. I got carried away here because right as I was doing this guy updated his trade bait and Dalvin Cook was there. And I have a competing team. I made it to the semis last year and my team just crapped the bed. And I already have some old running backs. I'm like, let's get another old running back. Let's just keep it going. Because that's apparently what I do. I enjoy just not doing the right thing for my team. So yes, I sent AJ Brown a 24 first for Dalvin Cook, Chris Olave, and a 24 second. In the analyzer, AJ Brown 607, a 24 first to 57 for a total of 864. Dalvin 405, Chris Olave disrespectful 292, 24 second 90 for a total of 787. So this trade is off by second and a third at most, which again, don't care, especially when we're talking about AJ Brown and Olave and Cook and a 24 first. So what do you think? How bad is it? How much are you taking the others? How much are you taking AJ Brown in the first?
Yeah, I do want that side. But to me, I feel like the difference, like the reason why I want to take that side is not because of dropping from AJ Brown to Chris Olave. Like I feel like going from Brown to Olave and picking up a second is a good tier down. I prefer it to be 23, but it's 24, but that's, whatever. I think my main issue with this trade is Dalvin Cook for the 24 first, which I know the analyzer doesn't feel this way, and there's a 150-point difference, but if I had Dalvin Cook, I would cash out for a 24 first.
Yeah. Honestly, if I had Dalvin Cook, I'd probably cash out for a 25 first if those existed in my leagues. Like, you get a first from Dalvin Cook, you're happy about it.
Yeah, exactly. I've been helping this one guy in my DMs, and he's trying to trade Dalvin Cook on an 0-6, 0-7 roster right now.
I hope you love those 2 seconds you're about to get.
Well, that's what I was literally like. His best offer has been 2 seconds, or he said that he might be able to swing 3 seconds if he includes 24. But I'm like, can you just get a 24 first and just call it a day there?
Yeah, or like turn one of those seconds into at least a young player, like something good.
Yeah,
just to make you feel better about it. Because 2 seconds doesn't feel great, but in most cases, most people aren't willing to send a first for Dalvin Cook at this point. But accepting less than a first, I'm not sure how often that will still happen. When you get closer to the season, maybe it will, or maybe people will be willing to pay more because we're at the, I need those points now.
Mm-hmm.
This was me just wanting Olave on my team, and I was willing to just click buttons to do it. And unfortunately, I clicked buttons. Well, no, there was countering back and forth. This wasn't the original offer. He offered to me on like the third go back and forth, AJ Brown in the first for Dalvin Cook and Olave, and I was just like, I can't do that. So I'm like, you know what? And his team is about to start rebuilding, which is why he wanted to get rid of Cook. So I'm like, I'm not going to get his 23 picks. So I'm like, just, I'm giving you a 24 first, give me your 24 second. And hoping that I keep winning championships and it's the 112 and he keeps rebuilding and it's the 201, in which case I don't feel bad about this at all.
Yeah, then that wouldn't be all that bad.
That's really actually all did go through my mind right before I said, just throw in your second. Like, it wasn't just whatever. Like, sometimes I do think about things. And like, I made this trade pretty much knowing everyone would pick against mine. But like I said before, especially when you're trading away, like when I was talking about Breece Hall, it was really just about Breece Hall. When you have that young running back, or in this case, a young wide receiver, and you're trading them away, it feels so much better to trade them for also young player and getting a pick on top. So like you said before, AJ Brown for Olave in a second makes me happy enough that I'm willing to send the 24 first for Dalvin Cook, which is why, again, be willing to lose a little bit for what's better for your team. I think adding Dalvin Cook, because I'm going to lineup wise, I'm swapping Olave for AJ Brown, and I don't think the production is going to be that different, assuming Olave can stay healthy. Like, yes, sure. AJ Brown will outscore Chris Olave, but I don't think it's going to be sizable. I mean, like you said before, a win now move doesn't really help you too much. If we're talking 2-3 points per game, who cares?
It's not a major difference. Yeah.
So I'm adding Dalvin Cook instead of Darnell Mooney-ish.
Oof.
So we're talking 4 or 5 points per game, in which case I'm net positive in the end. So I'm here for that. I'm ready for that. And it's a DLF Podcasters League, so I want to win because I didn't win last year, and stupid Adam and other people go listen to Read and React because he's the champion.
I love it. I hope you win, buddy. And I hope Dalvin Cook is a big part of you winning. But you got Chris Olave, so
yeah. And I'm not going to be sad even if I will be sad if I lose just because I lose. But I'm happy to have Olave on my team, and I do have more AJ Brown just in case he just for the rest of the season, so I can still win in other places. But that is the end of the DLF Trade Show on the DLF YouTube channel. Russ Fisher at Dynasty Outhouse, Addison Hayes at AmazeHayes_. We'll catch you next time.